Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks for joining me for another video. This is Quita from At Home with Quita, and here I share tips on how to plan a balanced life. So if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing. So on this video, I'm going to share with you how to start a small business in 10 easy steps. So let's get into it. So starting a new business is exciting and scary at the same time. There are so many unknowns. And so because of that, many entrepreneurs let fear, indecision, and perfection keep them from getting started. So today I'm going to share with you in 10 easy steps how to start your small business. If it's something that you've been pondering, you've been thinking about, you have been wanting to do for a long time, I'm hoping that these things will help you to get started. Step 1, get educated. I cannot say that enough. Learn as much as you can about whatever niche you're trying to get into. The most crucial step to getting started is getting some basic business knowledge under your belt. And this can be as simple as investing in a course. There's so much out there on the internet and otherwise that it's pretty easy to find what you're looking for. You can also invest in a book. You can easily do a quick search on Amazon to find exactly what you're looking for. There is so many resources out there available to you that makes learning a little bit easier now that we have this whole internet universe. So find your favorite book on Amazon, ask others around you some great books that they have found that have helped them. Pinterest is a great resource. YouTube is a great resource. So there's really no excuse to be able to figure out exactly what there is to know about that particular niche that you're trying to get into. And so when I first started my business, it took me some time to really get started because I wanted to make sure I did the proper research. So I spent a lot of hours looking at YouTube videos. I looked at social media, Pinterest. Again, there's so much out there. I read a lot of blogs, and that really helped me to get the sense of expectations and what I had to look forward to, and then also gave me a sense of what I needed to do to get started. So do your research, learn as much as you can, write down notes, grab yourself a notebook and take as many notes as you can, listen to podcasts, watch videos, read blog posts, do everything that you can to gather the proper information so that you know exactly what you need to get started in this newfound business that you want to start. The second thing is to write a business plan. Now I know what you may be thinking, why do I need to write a business plan when I'm not applying for any sort of loan? So think of your business plan as a simple roadmap that will help guide your way to business success. And it doesn't have to be lengthy, long drawn out, or complicated. Just use a simple template or formula to be able to write down the plan for your business. And most business plan templates are very similar. You'll first complete your executive summary, then your business description, your products and services, marketing strategies, design and development plan, and financial factors. So there are a ton of free templates out there all over the internet that you can just do a quick search for, and you should be able to find a simple business plan template that is going to work for you. So complete that business plan. Don't forget this step. It is an important part of the process. And if you need a little bit of help, just consult the internet and you'll be able to find what you're looking for and some steps to help you complete that business plan. It's not as hard as you think. The next thing is to name your business. And I think this is a fun part of the process, but it can be a little bit, hard to do as well, only because you have to do a little bit of research to see if there's any other people that have that name. If you're using your name, that's something completely different because that may be a little bit easier, especially depending on the type of business that you're trying to do. If you're trying to be an influencer or a blogger or something like that, you can simply use your name. But if you're trying to start, let's say, a planner business or a crafting business or something like that, you may not want to use your name. You may want to instead come up with a cute and catchy name that fits you and your business and what you're doing in that business. And if your business name is something other than your name, you'll apply for a DBA, doing business as. Also, do a quick search on the United States Trademark and Patent Office, just to make sure that there's no one else out there with the name that you'd like to use. And if you plan on filing for an LLC or corporation business structure, you won't need a DBA, as your business name is registered under those structures. So try to come up with the best name that's going to fit your business. And remember, your business name is going to go with you during the duration of your business. So try to make sure that it's something that actually fits. So look up synonyms for certain words to come up with ideas, scour the internet. Of course, you don't want to have the same exact name as someone else, but you can get inspiration from the internet and use that in order to come up with your own unique name for your business. The next thing is to choose your business structure. And remember to use your business plan as your guide in this step. Your options are sole proprietor, partnership, limited liability company, LLC, which is what we are, S corporation, or corporation. Now, I'm not going to go in so deep on these things. If you want to know exactly what that entails, you'll want to do your research. Each structure has its pros and cons. And so in order to get a little bit more help, you're more than welcome to meet with a lawyer or an accountant to help you determine which is going to be best for you in terms of taxation and liability. So again, do your research, figure out which of these business structures and models is going to be the best for your company, depending on what exactly you're trying to accomplish, what type of business you have. Consult if needed so you can find out which structure is going to work best for you. And so the next thing is to apply for permits, licenses, and forms. And so before you set up your home-based business, you'll need to check with your city and government to see what forms you may need to be completed. That varies by state and city because each has different rules. So do a little bit of research to see exactly what types of forms and licenses that you may need. Again, research. You got to research this so that way you can have exactly what you need. You can make sure that you're in compliance, and that is very important as well. And so depending on the type of business that you're trying to start, and also depending on whether it's going to be a home-based business or are you opening up a location, which we're really pretty much touching on home-based businesses because that's typically where a business starts, in your home. At least if you're like us, we've started here. We were considering branching out to a location, and of course that's going to have different requirements. So just determine what type of business you're trying to start. What are you going to have a location? Are you going to be in the home? All of that contributes to exactly what you're going to need. The next thing is to get your financial fundamentals in order. So the biggest tip I can get when it comes to this is keep your business finances separate from your personal finances. That is the easiest way to keep things organized and up to date. And so figure out what accounting system you're going to use. You can use anything from a spreadsheet to an app to a specific program that's going to help you to be able to track all of your financial expenses, what's going in, what's coming out. And it just helps you again to keep everything all together in one place to be able to do taxes at the end of the year. You'll need to review this to see where your money is going. Keeping your finances in order is going to be a very important part of the success of your business. So that is important. Don't gloss over that. Don't take it lightly. Financials are an important part of your business. And I know that some people aren't good with numbers, but you have to do it. This is Adulting 101, Business 101, and the financial part of that is sometimes going to determine whether you flop or succeed. You also want to open up a business bank account, and most banks require an EIN, Employee Identification Number, and you can apply for that on the IRS website. And after you have your EIN, shop around for bank accounts that don't have hefty fees for setting up a business bank account. You also want to consider invoicing. Do you need an invoicing program that's going to be able to fire off invoices to customers? How are you going to manage that? That's something that you'll need to consider in addition to bookkeeping. That's part of it. And sometimes bookkeeping programs and software do have invoicing capabilities built in their software program. Now, we are on Shopify for our main shop, Fancy Plans Co., and we are also on Etsy as well. Now, Etsy has its own invoicing sort of product built within the system, and so does Shopify. So it makes it easy to not have to manage multiple programs. Sometimes, especially when you're starting a new business, you don't want to have multiple programs that you're running and having to manage, because it's probably just you, and you may have a spouse or some sort of business partner working with you, and you want to keep things simple until you get your footing. So you don't want to spend lots and lots of time trying to learn these new programs, especially if there are multiple. So try to find an all-in-one program that has maybe bookkeeping, invoicing, has some sort of customer management interface to it, and that's going to help you to be able to keep it simple and be able to manage it all and also grow and thrive. And once you outgrow that software, you can invest time into looking for another program that may be suitable for you at that time in your business when you have moved on to the next level. And another thing that you'll want to consider is credit card processing. If you're going to process credit cards, do you need a third-party app? Now again, with our business, Shopify does have that built within their system, but also consider something like PayPal or Square. But again, if you are on a platform that has that already built in, it helps you again to not have to manage all the things. You don't really have to think about so much. It makes life easier. And so there are pros and cons to having it built in. And so you'll want to consider what's going to work best for you financially and also for simplicity reasons to be able to manage it all starting out this new business of yours. But I would definitely recommend using a site that already has that built in, like a Shopify or an Etsy or an eBay. And there are lots of other sites like that. I'm just mentioning some of the more popular ones. And so that way you'll be able to use their processing system. So I think the overall theme in this video is research, which was the first point we talked about. You have to research everything, and that's where your notebook or planner is going to come into play, because you want to make a list of every category that I'm mentioning to you today. Write notes within that category so that way you know and you have an action plan and you can move forward and make sure that you have everything set up correctly. The next thing is to build your website. Now I know this is hard. I have built pretty much all of the websites that we have existing, with the exception of At Home with Quita. I recently hired someone to kind of tweak some things up for me, but I did build it from scratch. I'm the type of person that's going to try to do everything myself, but I don't always recommend that. So what you can do, and how I found someone to create or revamp the At Home with Quita website, is on Fiverr. There's so many places out there that you can go onto and hire someone that can do the work for you. So if building a website is not your strong suit, that is okay. Hire someone to do it for you. Now, some people do charge a pretty penny, so you want to consider that and what you're willing to spend, but use the resources that are available to you. And some people may feel that they don't really need a website, but I'm telling you, you have to. It's a must in today's world. In order to be competitive, you have to have an online presence. It gives you a place to showcase your work, list your services, testimonials, and it makes you more professional. So don't skip this step. Again, it can seem like a daunting task and it can be a little bit intimidating because you really don't know where to start. But again, hire someone if you don't know how to do it. And it doesn't have to start off as this beautiful, elegant website with all these plugins and forms and things like that. You can just start small. So when it comes to us with our Fancy Plans Co website, Shopify has all of that built within the system. We do have it hosted on Bluehost, is the hosting site, but otherwise when I go in to build the website, I'm doing it all through Shopify, which is the beautiful thing of it. It makes it easy to be able to create the site the way you want it to look. You can kind of preview and design and preview as you go along, which makes tweaking easy. And Etsy does that as well. So that's why I'm saying that it's easier to be able to find platforms that already have all of this stuff built within their system. Now, the difference between Shopify and Etsy and eBay is that Shopify is your own website. So what that means is that you have to direct traffic to the website. It's not a marketplace like eBay or even Etsy. A marketplace means that it's a place where people can log on, do a search, and they can find what they're looking for within that marketplace or store. On Shopify, there is no marketplace. So you'll also want to consider that when choosing which platform is going to work best for you. You may want to start out with an Etsy or an eBay because it is a marketplace, and then you'll eventually upgrade yourself to a Shopify. And that's how we did it. We started out with Etsy, which we still have, and then we worked our way to Shopify because of course you're paying monthly fees with that. And so you want to make sure that you are ready and you have the marketing structure in place, which is something that we're going to talk about soon, and you know how to direct people to your Shopify store. Otherwise, it's not going to work for you. And when it comes to the At Home with Quita website, we use WordPress. Now there is two, I believe, versions of WordPress. We use the higher end WordPress because it gives us more functionality. And whenever we hire someone to tweak and to create a website, they typically want that version of WordPress. But there is a lower end WordPress or an easier to use WordPress that you may want to start with that may be able to help you to be able to design the website on your own. Because I know when starting out in a new business, You don't want to put a lot of money out there initially head on because you're not really sure if you're going to succeed, one. And plus, you don't really have those funds coming in yet to justify those expenses. So try to do as much as you can on your own until you get your footing and you figure out what you're doing. And then you can start outsourcing and using paid services to get things looking the way you want it to look. So create a website, make it look good. Doesn't have to be complicated. It can be a super simple website until you grow. And then of course your website is going to evolve, which is what we've been doing. Our website has looked so many different ways. So as you grow, your needs are going to change. Your inventory is going to change. The products that you have in your shop are going to look a little bit different over time. And so it's going to be a constant change of how things look. And you're also going to want to refresh from time to time because people don't want to look at the same website over and over again for years and years and years. There are companies that always just refresh. So you'll want to do that as well. So your website is going to be something that is going to constantly be changing, but get started with figuring out how you want it to look, how you want the structure to be. Do some research again and look at other websites, see the structure of them. And at the end of the day, if you know it's just not your thing to create a website on your own, hire someone to do it for you. Next, you'll want to determine your communication methods. Nowadays, most of us don't need landlines. Most of us just use our cell phones to conduct business, but you'll need to consider how you're going to communicate with your customers. Will the primary method be email, text message? Will it be DMs on social media? Do you need an appointment scheduling software? Will you be using email marketing as your strategy? Now, my preferred method of contact is email. I think email is the easiest way and system to use in terms of communicating with your customers. It doesn't disappear. Email is always going to be there. You can also organize things into folders if you want to archive things to go back and look at them at a later date. We don't have an appointment scheduling software because that is not the business that we're in. But let's say you're a nail artist or you're a hairstylist. You may want to consider an appointment scheduling software so that way you can keep those appointments in order. You can be professional and you can have a system in which you can schedule things out and make sure that you stay on top of those appointments and you don't overbook yourself. I also do think it's important to have an email marketing strategy. So for that, we use MailChimp, and it's very easy to be able to go in and customize emails that will go out on a regular basis. Like, let's say, for instance, if you have a blog like we do, we want to be able to shoot those blogs out to people whenever we upload them to our blog. And the easiest way to do that is through email marketing. And so we have it on automation. So that way, whenever we upload a blog post, it automatically emails those customers. And you also want to have a way to capture information. So we have a form on our shop, Fancy Plans Co., and also on our blog. We keep those lists separate within MailChimp, which helps out to be able to direct market whatever you're trying to market to specific groups of people based on how they subscribed. And so let's say, for instance, you have a new product. You may not want a specific audience seeing that. So for us, we have a shop for planner and stationery supplies. And then At Home with Quita is more of my personal brand where I share tips and tricks on family life, DIYs, organization, things like that. So I may not want to market a new product to that audience. So consider creating separate lists if that's the kind of business you're in. If you're an influencer or if your business kind of is similar to what I do, you may want to have multiple lists within MailChimp. But if you just have a simple business you're trying to start, not as an influencer, just you have a product or service, create a list within MailChimp and have those emails go out automatically, and then have a consistent schedule of, let's say you have new releases that come out every Tuesday. Make sure that you schedule that in your planner so that way every Tuesday or Monday, if you want to do it the night before and schedule that email, they go out on a regular basis and people know to expect that email on that day. And I would also consider a P.O. box. So I do have a P.O. box as well because you're going to want to set up that service. So I do use MailChimp, and that's what we're talking about because that's what I use personally. But there's so many other email marketing programs out there. So you don't necessarily have to choose MailChimp. I know with MailChimp, they do give you a certain amount of subscribers. And then after that, it is paid. But up until that point, it's free to send out so many emails per month. And once you get to that threshold, then it is a paid amount. And so you'll want to consider the cost because it is very cumbersome to have to, if you know that at that certain place that you're trying to get to subscriber wise, it's going to cost too much and it's a little bit out of your budget and you just don't want to spend that amount, determine that early on. So that way, when you do get to that place, which we all strive to get to, you're not shocked with the amount of money that you're going to have to pay on a monthly basis. So that is something you definitely want to look at on the front end. So that way you can make sure that you stay with that program so that you don't have to export all your contacts out and import it into another program just because the cost was too expensive. And so within whatever program you choose, you're going to have to set it up. So a PO box is going to be helpful. For me, I gave myself a goal and I said, once I get to this particular subscribers on YouTube, this particular followers on Instagram, I can justify a PO box because I felt like that was a reward for hard work. And so once I achieved that goal, then I went and I got myself a PO box because there is an expense tied to that as well. And so when you're developing your business plan and all of that, you're writing in all of the things that you feel like you're going to need and put a cost next to it. So that way you can see what the total cost of your startup is going to be. So determine your communication methods. That is very important. Communication is everything. So figure out what system is going to work best for you long term, stick with it. And if you need to change something in the future, of course, because business is constantly evolving, then that is fine. Figure out what works best for you at every stage of your business. The next thing is to figure out what your marketing strategy is going to be. This is something that's very tricky, you guys. I have to admit, there are so many ways to market yourself. And so you have to do a little more research as well on this one to figure out what are going to be the best strategies for you. And also, marketing is not cheap, especially depending on the route that you're trying to go. So for me, in my business right now, we don't do that much marketing in terms of running ads and things like that. My main marketing source is YouTube. I have to be honest with you guys, and social media as well. And so when I put out a video, then I typically will throw some links in there and I will make some recommendations and suggestions. And that is my main way of marketing my business right now. Now, I'm not telling you to only do that because you shouldn't put all your eggs in one basket. But if you have a YouTube channel, that is a great way to market yourself and your business. And social media as well. If you have an Instagram, a Twitter, if you have Facebook, start a group. That's a great way to market yourself, and just start talking about organically about some of the things that may be helpful to others. Because I think that when you try to help people as opposed to pushing a product, it's a subtle way to market, but it's also really helping someone as opposed to just pushing product down their throat. And remember that you've kind of determined this early on when you wrote out your business plan, but I'm just giving you some tips and some strategies from what has helped me. And I don't know everything, of course, about business or about marketing. I'm not a marketing guru. I am still trying to figure all of this out. And so in addition to just your presence on social media as a form of marketing, you can also run ads. Now, I do run ads from time to time on Instagram, and I have run ads on Facebook in the past. I do have a success story of someone that used to work with me at my old job where I was a project manager about 10 years ago. She left the company and she started a company that leases wedding dresses, and she always wanted to do it. She ended up leaving the company and starting her business, and now she's been all over the place. She is a multimillionaire, and she started it all by Facebook ads. And that's what she communicated to me, at least when she left and I was still there. I asked her, what did you do? It just seemed like she was all over the place and she had so much success. And I knew eventually that I did want to leave as well. She said Facebook ads was like a dream for her. And that is what really helped to catapult her business. So I know Facebook ads are very, very, very effective. And so you just have to consider, again, cost. And also there is a learning curve there too, because you want to make sure that you're using everything correctly. There are several videos and articles I'm sure that you can look into to see exactly how to run a Facebook ad. All of these tips and things I'm sharing with you are just surface level tips. We can literally spend hours on each individual topic. So we'll have to maybe break things down in a future video. And so explore, see what marketing strategy is going to work best for you. Some businesses aren't effective running ads, especially I think for me, because of the business that I'm in. I'm not going to run an ad on Facebook for At Home with Quita. It's not going to work. I can promote my blog and website, but there's a specific strategy for you depending on what type of business you're in. And so if you're going to use social media as a strategy, take some time to set up your profiles. Of course, that is a part of the process. Set up each social media platform early on. I think the biggest thing that I am very glad that I did was I set everything up, even if I didn't know for sure I was going to use them. So I set up Instagram, I set up Twitter, I set up all of these different things early on. And then once I really got serious about them, I had already gained followers. I was already increasing and growing. And that was all because because I had them all set up at the same time. And normally when people are going to follow you in one place, they're going to follow you in those other places as well. So don't only set up one platform, try to set up as many as you feel like in the future you'll use. If it seems a little bit overwhelming, just go ahead and set them up. And that way you can be growing organically over time until you're ready to really figure out a strategy for each of those platforms. And the last thing is to get your office space ready. Now, this is my favorite part because I love a good office setup, and I'm constantly tweaking my office and making changes depending on what stage of life I'm in. And so I love this part of the process. So figure out how you want your setup to look to make it the most functional for you and your business. Now, you don't have to go out and buy all the things. Eventually, over time, as revenue starts to come in, then you'll be able to change it up and tweak it and make it your own. So just start with a desk and a drawer, a file cabinet, things like that. You'll want a printer, of course, a computer, and of course, you'll need the internet. And don't forget about organization tools, file folders for invoices, receipts, contracts, documents, and other things. So figure out what that is going to look like for you. Again, I cannot express the importance of having a notebook or planner for your business. So that way you can write down a list of all of the things you'll need. So start with a list of things that you need and then come up with a list of things that you want, because that is two different things. You could want an iMac, but you know right now you can't afford one. So get a simple little cheapy computer that's going to work and function, that's not going to die on you until you can buy the computer that you really know you want, that's going to even help you to take your business to the next level. So I'll give you a quick tour of my office space. Now this is separate from the workspace for my Fancy Plans Co. business, which you guys have seen from time to time. This is my own personal office, which you guys know if you're on my Instagram that I changed up a little while ago, and I am loving the space. So just to give you a quick tour of my office space, just so you can get a little bit of inspiration. So my office is right off of our foyer. My husband built these two doors here so that I can close myself off, especially when I'm filming. And so when you come in, I'm just going to give you a quick little tour because I do have a video on my channel of my whole office redo. You can check that out. But I just have a simple little setup here, and I enjoy coming in here to film and to relax. I do have a TV, which I don't hardly watch because I'm always working. And that is over my little nook right here. I have a little table here where I sit sometimes with the kids and just read or study or what have you. And so this is where I film. That's my little setup there. Then when I'm doing face-to-face videos like this one, I have my tripod set up there, and I'm typically sitting here, and that way I can get that natural light action. I also have some books up there that I tend to look at to get just, some information, of course, again, with the research. So I do have some books there that have helped me along the way. I have my planner supplies there, and also in this little cabinet unit here, all of my other planner notebooks are there, some Starbucks cups, and then these are the kids. That is Addison's, that's Malachi's, that has all their keepsakes in there. Then I have a little chair over here, which I sit here and watch my TV. So this is my office. I love coming in here. And this, again, is just my personal office. My husband has his own office space upstairs. And then in the basement is where we work for Fancy Plans Co. So I thought I'd just give you a quick tour. Of course, your setup is going to be different. It just all depends on what you are trying to do, what your niche is, what type of business you're trying to start. As you can see, I don't have a printer in here, but you will, of course, need a printer, most likely. Of course, especially starting out, I do have a printer downstairs in the basement that we use for Fancy Plans Co. Up here, it's not necessary. I do have the internet, which is right there. That is where the box is, of course, for the entire house. We do have actually one here and one down in the basement because sometimes the signal is bad down there. So it has its own little router. And so this is my setup, you guys, and it works great for me. And so this is a fun process, setting up your office, tweaking it, making it your own. So that way you want to work in it. And so this is where I work. And so just remember, don't get overwhelmed. I know there are so many steps in this process that you'll need to take in order to start your business. And there may be other aspects depending on your specific type of business that you'll need to consider that I may not have talked about in this video. And remember that it often takes months to see profit, but don't give up, stick with it. Your time will come in which you feel comfortable, you feel like you are gliding and coasting through this business, and then something else will happen that will kind of throw you off your game. That is just the nature of business. You have highs and lows. You have good times and bad times. Take it all in stride and remember that that is just the nature of the beast. You're going to have some days where you're frustrated, you're ready to just throw in the towel, and you just don't see how it can be worth it to continue. It is worth it to continue. So don't quit, stay with it. And I guarantee you over time, you'll get your footing and you will feel good about the fact that you started your business. You'll start to see rewards and it'll start to pay off. And I'm a huge advocate for not quitting your day job. Start your business as a side hustle, okay? Until you figure this thing out. Don't go quitting your job that you know is paying your bills and allowing you to live life. That's not how it works. For most people, you'll want to wait until you have enough money coming in from that side hustle before you quit your day job. So that's it, guys. That's all I've got for you today. And again, on some videos in the future, I will drill down to some of these things. I know I just pretty much gave you the basics and you may want a little bit more information. You can also scour the internet. There are tons of articles that you can use in helping you to get off the ground with your business. So hopefully these 10 things helped. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really enjoyed this video. I'm hoping that I can deliver to you more business content. So comment below and let me know if this is something that you want to be a regular thing on my channel, and I will continue to film these business related videos, which I enjoy. I also wanted to thank you guys so much. I feel like Fancy Plans Co. and At Home with Quita could only be possible because of you. And so I really appreciate all of your support and all of our endeavors from the beginning. If you've been here, you are a ride or die. You've been here since I started my YouTube channel, and this whole journey, you have seen the progression. You've seen highs, you've seen lows, you've seen hiccups. You know where we started and you know where we are now. And if you are one of those people, I just really want you to know how much I truly appreciate you. So thank you so much again for stopping by today. Hopefully you'll consider subscribing to my channel. If you're new here, you'll give me a thumbs up in this video if you enjoyed it, and you'll come back and you'll catch another video, in which case I'll see you guys then.